In 1987, Nintendo came out with a game that forever changed my friend Scott C. Jones right here. It's called Punch-Out. It's number 16 on our top 100 video games of all time list.
And it's still kind of changing me to this day because, you know what, whenever I need a reset in my life, whether I break up with a girlfriend or, you know, I go through a hard time, I go right back here. This is like patient zero for me. I mean, this is the game that turned me into it turned me into the human being that I am today. And you know what? This game had everything. It's bright, it's colorful, it had boxing. I was a huge boxing fan back then. I still am today, but only in the rear view mirror. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Punch-Out fights these days. Had Mario in it, had these terrific, colorful characters. You start off the game fighting against Glass Joe, who I think his record is 1 in 99, and then you work your way up. You fight the always formidable Bald Bull. Looking back now, this was really kind of, we talked about this before in our review, it's the first rhythm game ever created because that's all you're doing is you're trying to figure out the patterns, which almost feel musical now in retrospect, that each of these fighters had.
I think one of the patterns that you can kind of recognize, speaking of patterns, on this list is that the games that we've really highlighted are games that have kind of set mechanic touchstones. You know, they created a formula for how to play specific styles of games, and Punch-Out was so copied by so many other games. Certainly there have been boxing games, like even back on the Atari 2600, but nothing like this. Nothing where you were dodging and weaving and you could actually feel these pixelated punches coming at you in this pseudo 3D kind of style.
It really worked. Like, it's an incredible piece of theater. I mean, you look at this thing in action and it doesn't look like much, but once you start playing it, you get pulled in this really big way. This is an epic experience. Your heart is pounding. Your hands are sweating. And the other aspect of this game is the sense of surrealness and weirdness. I mean, look at King Hippo. What the hell is this guy?
I know.
I mean, you just punch him in the stomach, his pants fall down.
Even the Wii version of Punch-Out, which was a great game from Next Level, didn't really feel different than the NES version of Punch-Out.
It didn't eclipse the 1987 version. It wasn't better than the Super Punch-Out, which I thought was also terrific. Another great game. One of these games, and we're finding lots of these on our list of the 100 greatest video games, that they did it right the first time. They never could really evolve or iterate beyond that. And so 1987's version of Punch-Out still stands tall as the very best version. In fact, let's take a look back at all of our visits with the Punch-Out gang.
What's the first game we're talking about?
First game we're talking about is Punch-Out for the Nintendo Wii. Now, we've been waiting a long time for the new Punch-Out.
Yes,
I have. You haven't.
Well, I played it back in the day, but I think it was kind of a religious experience for you, wasn't it?
I've got to tell you, it was one of the games that really made me into who I am today. Mike Tyson, I knocked him out on several occasions. Yes, that's just a little sample of the mad skills I have. That's skills with a Z.
The characters are a little bit too much into the stereotype department, but they're so cartoony and fun. It looks like an animated series.
Yeah, the animation is really beautiful. I mean, I'm impressed time and again by what the Wii can do. People knock the Wii for its lack of graphical prowess, but man,
first party Nintendo, man, they've nailed it more than once, and this is another great-looking Nintendo Wii game.
But is this really an evolution?
Not at all. It's addictive as a single-player experience, and it's ridiculous as a two-player game. It's just so funny.
Very treasure time again, everybody. The other day, I was looking around in the eShop for the Nintendo 3DS, and I came across an oldie but a goodie. You might have heard of this one. It's called Punch-Out. This is the classic Punch-Out from the NES, dating all the way back to the 80s. And the object of the game is to defeat all manner of opponents in the boxing ring. This is a faithful port of the original, of course, so you got all your favorite boxers in there like Piston Honda, King Hippo, and Bald Bull. In order to gain the upper hand against these opponents, you'll need to learn how to get them stunned and get little stars to appear above their head. Each boxer requires a different strategy in order to figure out how to get the stars out of them. I'm still learning new things about this game. I'm still finding new strategies for defeating opponents, and that's the sign of a great game. It's almost become this kind of meta game. You have to go to the flea market, you have to find Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. No small feat. You have to go home, hook it up, plug it into your Nintendo, defeat Mike Tyson, and then bloop, bloop, life achievement and bucket list. You can cross that off.
You can put that all over your Facebook. Congratulations, Punch-Out, number 16.